Okay, readers, yesterday you had a chance to kind of analyze some of the words and phrases that were used in a simile that Sandra Cisneros used in Papa Who Wakes Up Tired in the Dark. So we really started with that story, and then you kind of branched out and started to look at some other similes and other stories. So you've really been staying close into the text, right? Have you noticed how, I haven't really had you talk about, your personal lives or anything like that yet? Well, today, we're going to start out kind of within the text, like we've been. We've stayed into that text, right? We've really stayed analyzing the text itself. So we're going to start off today by looking at what's happening within the text. And then I'm going to let us go outside of the text. Okay, so we're going to start off within the text today. So what I mean is, I'm going to ask you to reread, and I'm going to read it out loud, paragraphs 1 and 5. I want us to reread paragraph 1 and reread paragraph 5 and be thinking, how are these two paragraphs connected? Because this is such a short story, we have to know that paragraph 1 and 5 are connected, because it's like the beginning and the end, right? So we're going to reread those paragraphs and ask ourselves, why and how are those connected? So let me reread them to you out loud while you read it to yourself in your head too. Okay? So paragraph 1 from Papa Who Wakes Up Tired in the Dark in your short share text set. Okay? Your abuelito is dead, Papa said early one morning in my room. Está muerto. And then, as if he just heard the news himself, crumples like a coat and cries. My brave Papa cries. I've never seen my Papa cry, and I don't know what to do. Readers, now I'm going to jump down to paragraph 5. We've already had a chance to read through the story a couple of times, so we know what happens in the middle. But we're looking to see how are paragraphs 1 and 5 connected. Let's read paragraph 5. And I think, if my own Papa died, what would I do? I hold my Papa in my arms. I hold and hold and hold him. So, in the very beginning, the narrator kind of gets the news, right? That Abuelito, Grandpa, has passed away. By the end, the narrator is like, what do I do to support my father who's a mess? How is the narrator changing from the beginning, which in this short story is just paragraph 1, and the end, which is only paragraph 5. So in only 5 paragraphs, how does the narrator change? Turn and talk to your reading paragraphs.
So I think, or she changes because they're just got the she's kind of almost in shock, and then at the end he's thinking about it. Now he's kind of processing, and now he's thinking about it. What I'm like, he's worrying about the future now since he's already thought about what's already happened.
So I think that's a really good thought that at first he doesn't really, he's just sort of, as you said, like shocked. And in the end, he's not more
Thinking about it.
But personally, I think in
My pet, I think, when the story gets, goes along, the kid, he gets more sad at the end of the story, and so he just doesn't know what to do anymore.
I think he's thinking about, I'm already behind because I've already got someone on the head. So, what I think is that, he hears, his Papa's dad dies, but he doesn't know what to do. So at the end, he ends up making so at the end, what it doesn't be like, or what he would do if his Papa had died, if his own Papa had died.
Okay, readers, can I get your attention in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. So, right now I was asking you to talk about Abuelito, Papa, and the narrator, right? So it's how is the narrator handling dealing with his Papa? who just lost his dad. So his dad just lost his dad, right? And how he kind of chooses to handle that. Now, I want us to kind of go away from the text a little bit. And now I want to show you that readers draw connections, not only just from what's happening within the text, but also outside of the text. Paying really careful attention to how we, that's us, the reader, can connect to experiences like the narrator. So if we have a really good, strong understanding of the narrator within the text and how the narrator is responding to his poor father is like on his bed bawling, right? And so if we have an understanding of that, do you think that's going to help us understand also how we can draw our own connections to the text? So do you see what I mean when I say within the text, focusing just on the story?
And outside the text, what we're gonna.
Now we start thinking like, okay, now how am I affected, or how do I draw some of these same connections, right? What I'd love for you to do is just to take a quick second to jot it first, your own thinking about it, because I know you have a really strong connection to this. Maybe your life experiences. Maybe you've lost someone and you've watched your own parents struggle. Maybe you're the oldest sibling and you understand that sometimes you kind of have to like be tough and help out around the house. So think about some connections that you have in your own life. So now I'm encouraging you to think outside of the text. We've done a couple days of reading inside the text and within just what's happening here. Now I want you to think about yourself. Go ahead and take a minute to jot that down. You can use some of these prompts if you want. Have I ever been in a similar experience? Have I ever felt that way? So with your pencil and your reader's notebook, please jot. Able to find a connection to look at that. So this text, even though it's a short story, it's got some heavy ideas in it, right? It's about loss and how to help family and how to help your parents be brave and how to make decisions about how to deal with the situation. So there's a lot in there, right? So some of it you might connect with on a really heavy level. Today, when you're reading your own books, I'm going to ask you to draw some connections within the text. So think about just the text itself. Don't stray from that text. I know it's tempting. Think about connections that are happening within your story. Maybe one chapter is connected to another chapter, right? And then I want you to think about some connections that you might have outside of the text. So you as the reader, what connections can you make to what's happening in the text? Does that make sense? So I'm going to ask you to focus on connections within and connections outside of the text today in your own reading. You feel ready to do that?
Yeah.
Awesome.